Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, Women of a Certain Age. I am Daheem, and on my channel we celebrate the Gen X with confidence and joy. So today I decided I'm going to share a little bit of a story time. Still trying to figure out, what works, what doesn't work, that type of thing. But I have so many stories that are outlandish at times, things I can learn from, all kinds of stuff. But before I start, I would like you to put in the comment section where you're watching from. So, and also please like, share, and subscribe. Normally, my posting schedule at the moment is Sunday and Wednesday, and every once in a while, I will throw in some extra ones. The story time probably will be another day just to put it in there because I was just thinking about it and I figured, let me just put it out here. So, you'll see me look off from time to time, so that way I am making sure I am covering my notes. I'm still trying to figure that piece out. I'm on a learning curve, so hey, it is what it is. So the story time that I decided that I was going to talk about today was a dating story time. That time I got catfished. I'm pretty sure I would like to say I got catfished because I have I like to believe in the best of people, not necessarily thinking that someone always has an ulterior motive. Although I'm very keen to certain things, I still try to lead with, okay, let me see where this person is going, as opposed to automatically coming from a standpoint of they trying to get over. And as someone who is a native New Yorker, it's kind of innate where there's always something going on in New York where you just got to keep your guard up at all times. And that can be frustrating. So, here we go. So this one time I was, every once in a while, I'll, try online dating just to see what that is. You never know, some good prospects, maybe, maybe not. I will say that the ones that I have had so far, maybe with the exception of one, turned out to be a good learning experience. We just were not a good fit for each other. And I'll talk about that maybe down the road. But I learned so much from him. So one time I was on this dating site that I won't share what the site is, but I was on this dating site and I met this guy and we shared pleasantries back and forth. We scheduled a time to have a phone conversation, and it was an amazing conversation. We were on the phone for probably a good maybe 2 hours or something along those lines, which says a lot because I'm not a big phone person, which is odd because, they say Gen Xers are more of a phone person as a text. But talking on the phone, let's have the conversation, what needs to be done or anything along this line. And I'm usually get off the phone. Now, I will have a good kiki with some of my good friends. But for the most part, I don't know, particularly when I'm talking to somebody that there may be an interest, it kind of not makes me uneasy. It's kind of like not really knowing what to expect as opposed to just going with the flow, which can be a challenge for me at times. So we're having a conversation. It is really good conversation. We are talking about everything, anything and everything. He's in Illinois, I'm in Michigan. We are just sharing back and forth. I am going to turn this off. You would think by now that I would know to mute everything because there's always some form of sound going on in my house. And before was stopping and starting, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to roll with it. That's why you'll see in just about every video, I need to put a note up to make sure everything is silenced. But I digress. Going back, Illinois, Michigan, we're talking about what are the commonalities. He's talking about what he does, what I do, what do we like to do, that type of thing. So this goes on for maybe a couple of weeks where we're texting back and forth. Every once in a while, we will talk on the phone and it's a decent conversation. And he said that he was going to call me. We were going to connect over the weekend, and I hadn't heard anything from him. So I'm thinking, I don't know why it's always, if you don't hear from somebody, the automatic thing is like, oh, something's wrong. I don't know if that says something about the person that's expecting or the person that is, I don't know. But anyway, because there's absolutely could be nothing wrong. Maybe they just don't want to talk. It could really be just that simple, and it's okay. The issue is that with him was that we were going to connect at a certain time to have a conversation, and I didn't hear from him. So I sent a message like, hey, just check and make sure you're okay. I didn't hear anything from him. So I'm like, okay, I'll just leave it at that. Then I think that happened on a Friday, and we were supposed to connect Saturday. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear, but once I had sent a message, I think I sent like one or two messages. I hadn't heard anything. I just figured he'll reach out when he reaches out. Never been, I don't know if that's more ego, probably is, but never been one for if I send you one or two messages, if I don't hear from you, I'm not sending you repeated messages just to make sure, because I figure you'll get around to it when you get around to it. I'm also the person that if I send you a message, I will give you, I thought 24 to 48 hours is a good turnaround time. One of my good friends was like, that's too long. I don't know. Tell me, what do you think? What is the proper amount of time when you send somebody a text? Because I realize that everybody's emergency is not someone else's emergency. So if I send a message, now it's different if I send a message and I say, hey, if I call, I don't hear from you, I send a message, hey, can you call me? I really need to talk, something like that. Still not someone else's emergency, but I want to make sure that I have the courtesy of sending the message, whether I can talk or not. And I've had oftentimes where I could not, but I would send a message and say, I can't talk right now. Can I call you in a few minutes? Or if everything's okay, because I don't know if it's that much of an emergency, then I need to know, do I need to step out? I could be in a meeting or something along those lines, just to make sure everything is okay. And sometimes it's not much that I can do or any of us can do, but sometimes people need an ear. Going back to the story. I send one or two messages. I don't hear anything from him. I'm like, okay, he'll get around to it when he gets around to it. Fast forward, I want to say Monday, because I'm almost positive it was Super Bowl weekend. And it was Monday. I'm pretty sure it was Monday. He sent me a message and I didn't respond to the message, but he also sent me a message in the wee hours of the morning and I wasn't responding to that. I normally will shut my phone down during the time that I am asleep. And the reason I started doing that was because when I used to live abroad, I had a cousin that could not get the times right, and he would just randomly call, like it could be a 6 hour, 7, 8 hour difference, and he would just call me at 3, 4 in the morning. And of course, when someone calls you at 3 or 4 in the morning, you automatically, or at least I automatically think, maybe I need to change my thinking on that, since I don't feel like I think the worst, but I don't know. But if someone calls you 3, 4 in the morning, you think something has happened. And I would pick up the phone and he would be like, hey, cuz, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm asleep. He's like, really? What time is it there? And it never failed. We would have this conversation. I think we had this conversation maybe 3 to 4 times. And then I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and turn my phone off at a certain time, so that way I'm not disturbed. And I want to make sure I don't be irritated or something along those lines, with the caveat of having something in place for if there's a real emergency or someone's calling me, they can get through. So I adopted that when I came back to the States. So he sent me a message, I want to say about 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So now he wants to have a conversation, like as if nothing had taken place. And I brought up when I finally had a, no, I didn't respond. That's what it was. I didn't respond because I was asleep. He sends the message at 11 ish. I didn't respond. And a few hours later, his response was, because I didn't respond, his response was something along the lines of, oh, I see why you're single, or something like that. Something crazy that he said. And I got up that morning a little bit earlier than I normally do. And I went to the bathroom and made the mistake of looking at the message. And when I saw the message, I was heated. Should not have looked at the messages. And very rarely do I look at my phone if I'm up in the middle of the night or I have to go to the bathroom or something along those lines. And I guess I was, curious or really wanted to talk to him because I really did like the guy. And when he sent that response, I was heated and kind of thrown aback. I went back to sleep, got up. Finally, when I got up, I was irritated. So I'm thinking, should I send him a message? My fingers started like itching where I'm like, let me just, you're like, no, just have the conversation. So when I did speak to him, I brought it up like, hey, what was that message? You sent me a message a certain time and I was asleep, and I don't remember what he said now that I think about it. Yeah, I don't remember what he said. So we continued a little bit more, few conversations, not many, few and far, because by now I'm irritated, and I should have really expressed how irritated I was. I just thought it was, maybe it was just one of those things, just let it go, move on. He started saying little things, like I called them little digs. And the digs are if something doesn't work for him. And it could be some of the simplest stuff. And I think at the time he was 50. And when we would have the conversation, he would ask me, did I like something? And if I didn't like it, I would be like, no, I'm not, not really my thing. If somebody likes it, hey, you like what you like. And because if it was something that I didn't like, that he happened to like, he would do like a little dig. And he would say something like, well, people say, and that was a common thing people say. And I remember saying to him, when you say people say, what does that mean? Are you saying this is from your standpoint, or are you more so talking about what someone else is saying? Because at this point, while we can be mindful of what somebody says, I'm not running my life on what people say, because people will steer you wrong every time. So my question to him was, I know what it was. He asked me if I liked heels. And I'm not a big heel wearer. I am a tall woman, 5'10". Depending on who you talk to, could be 5'9" now, because I might be shrinking. But anyway, I'm not a big, heel person. I do like a cute wedge. I had mentioned that to him. And he sent me a article about how men and women alike. I wish I had the article that I can insert in here, but it said something along the lines of men and women alike agree that wedges aren't attractive. And when he sent it to me, I'm thinking to myself, is he serious right now? Like, I don't even know how we get in this conversation. Clearly you like heels. I'm not a heel wearer. I will wear a wedge. Never really been a heel wearer because I'm already tall. And I just, I don't like them. It is what it is. So when I read the article, I said to him, I said, do you wear your clothes? Are you wearing your clothes based off of what people say or fashion trends? I mean, your style is your style, but I'm not wearing stuff based off of what other people are thinking. You know, I like what I like. I like comfort. I am more of a, I'm very casual. I will, you know, dress up, but I like to go towards, my goal is like a casual chic. And, you know, what makes me comfortable? What am I feeling comfortable in? But also feeling very like feminine. And I like the girly girls at times, but I also can be throw on some sweats and a sweatshirt, like an ensemble, like casual wear, something along those lines. But he said that he wasn't a big fan of wedges. Now, mind you, let's talk about, we had never met, and this was all phone conversation. And then it got to the point where I was like, hey, you know, let's have a conversation via video. This is where it gets tricky. Not even tricky, to be honest with you, but it was always a story. And this was over a period of 1 to 2 weeks. I'll say that because I think it was like grand opening, grand closing type situation. So we were supposed to meet up. I don't hear from him again. And at this point, I'm like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I felt like the conversation that we had, or the conversations that we had, were pretty decent, but it wasn't enough for me to, like kind of like be strung along. Yeah, it just wasn't. So I sent him a message and I said, hey, after, I think it was after the wedge thing, because it had been 3 times, probably 3 times too many, but where he had said something, or the little digs where I was like, this is not working for me. Let me just cut my losses while I'm ahead of the game. And I sent him a message. It was a really nice message too, at least I thought it was. And I was like, hey, I think you're an amazing guy. I think, our first conversation, we had a really good conversation. But I think after that, it just kind of went in a different direction. And I don't really think that I am what you're looking for. I said, because we seem to hit a wall, and it's the back and forth where I'm not hearing from you, that type of thing. And I had expressed that I didn't want to have, although I'm not a big conversation person, we had really good conversation. I don't really want to have a text conversation with you all the time. I want to be able to have conversation. It could be text, it could be telephone, FaceTime, because we're in 2 different states. But none of that is happening. And then there are moments where you disappear, and it's like, that just doesn't work for me. And I'm pretty sure that you'll find somebody that it does work for, which is fine. I just don't think I am that person. You take care, you have a good, not a nice life, but something along those lines. Baby, when I say this man, I don't know if it was almost, was it immediate? I don't know. I don't think it was immediate, now that I think about it. But his response to me was so hurtful, I guess, for lack of a better word, because my feelings was hurt. When he sent me the message back, and he was like, and I'm not going to say all that he said, but he was like, that is the problem with you women. Y'all are, actually said, that is the problem with you black women. Problem with you black women, and you have these fairy tale ideas of what a relationship should be, and that's why. And then he sends me another article talking about black women and dating, and It said something along the lines of romanticize, and I really wish if I find the article, I will insert it. But that was some of the things that he was saying, and it was very, I don't know, it was just weird to me because I'm thinking like, why would you send somebody something like that? And I just started to ignore him because he would just kept sending me messages, kept sending. So when I went to block him, he sends me two pictures from a completely different phone based out of the area that he was, which how I knew it was him. And it was just disgusting, some pictures that he sent me. And he had said something like, I don't, if you want, you could go ahead and report me. I don't really care about that. And that's why I'm convinced I was catfish, because I would like to believe that there are people, or there are not people in this world that are that special. I'll use the word special. Um, I, it was just weird. The conversation, it was just weird in terms of his response to, and there's some other stuff that I'm leaving out in terms of his response, but it, like the receipts of it all, I wish I really could show all that, but I don't want to do that. But it was just so divisive, and so all because I said that it didn't work for me. And I thought, well, what is wrong with that? Some people say they felt like it was catfish. Some people said that he got his feelings hurt. I don't know what it was either way. I just thought it was really weird. So I took a break from online dating for probably a good 2 years. Because that happened right around, or right after COVID, maybe a few years after COVID, but I had took a break for like 2 years because I was really shook. And it takes a little bit more for me to be shaken up like that. So I was like, okay, what have I learned from this? What I have learned is that my non-negotiables are my non-negotiables. And when I say that, I went into it, I said, I don't really want to have a full-on texting relationship. Although I know I said earlier in the conversation that I'm not a big conversation person, but conversation is necessary, texting is okay, and even video chatting. I had another online dating where I met a guy. He was like, let me see who you are off the rip initially. And I was like, I'm okay with that because I want to make sure you are who you say you are. I am who I say I am. And that way we can put that piece at mine, at least from an aesthetic viewpoint. Of course, there's some things in that are hitting that you don't know about, that you don't tell people about, but you find that out along the lines. That's where the vetting process goes on. So as far as with online dating, I don't want to say leery. My mother used to always say before she passed that she felt like online date is where the killers are. Not a thought process that I'm even thinking about, because you have to vet people and you have to share in your community who these people are. Anytime I've ever gone on dates, I will automatically send the information to my friends. I have my stuff tracked. I also have their license plate. And this is stuff, unfortunately, I would imagine men and women nowadays, but particularly women, that you have to do when you are going with somebody or going on a date. Even with you are meeting someplace and, they say, well, let me pick you up. I don't want you to pick me up because you don't need that information. And I'm okay with getting there, even if that means someone dropping me off, because that way I know they're picking me back up and they know that it's okay. And I know some people may be thinking it's not that serious, but sometimes it is. I have plenty of other stories that are wild ones, and then I have some that were really good and great. So that's why I call it Maybe I'll title this To Catfish or Not. You tell me what you think. Was it a catfish or not? So, thank you for listening in on my story time. I hope that you can share maybe what have you ever had some dating story or a dating story that was quite interesting. Making sure that I have said everything. But yes, and I am going to continue doing more dating, and hopefully I'll have some really good stories as well. Good ones, you know. And thank you for joining. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And remember, confidence and joy is always what we want to make sure we lead with. And I hope you have an amazing week and be blessed. Goodbye.